Hello and welcome back. So now that we have made our way through a couple of introduction videos,
Well, I think we extensively covered everything.
I think so, it's time for us to get started. So Lee was in the middle of preparing, and I said, "I'll forget that, let's just go." So I hit the record button, and Lee, what do you want to do in this video?
Stuff and things.
All right.
How about we, it's been a while since we messed with the train system. And, session 8 was all about multi-threading and then some Unity dispatch stuff. I say we start off fresh in session 9, and I mean really fresh, all the way down to a brand new project. What do you think?
As long as I don't have to sit through 30 hours of you retyping what you've typed before, we're in good shape.
No, you don't have to, because you've already been through that first 30 hours. I'm going to let you type this.
Oh, yeah. Good luck.
Does that mean you don't want to do it?
You think your typing's bad?
Yeah, but see, this is the difference. That I can make fun of your typing for a change.
No, I like making fun of you. That works better.
Yeah, for you.
Besides, when I type, I'm actually looking at the screen. When you type, you're about 3 inches away from your fingers, analyzing them as they strike the key, one digit at a time.
Yeah, but you type worse than me? That's really...
I know, I don't. I'm just kidding.
Alrighty, so let's create a new project, though.
You want to call it Train 09 since this is Session 09?
No.
Okay.
But it's not going to be Train 09, because Train 09 is going to have more than one project in it.
Gotcha.
Because up until now, we've only had one part. But if you remember from our workflow discussions, we're looking at having multiple applications.
Okay.
Pull this together. We're going to end up with the train generator. Mm-hmm. So that's one. Our editor, that's two. Data storage system is going to integrate into all of these these three programs. So that's just an API and some background code. So nice little library that Nelson put together for us. So, but we've got generator, editor, we're going to have the exporter, so that gives us 3. And then we're going to have the train viewer. So that's going to be at least 4 different programs.
Okay.
So I'm going to make Train 09 be kind of our higher level container folder. And then we'll start with a couple of different folders in here. So we will have different ones in here. But for right now, we're just going to have our train editor. We'll start with that one, and we'll add other folders in here as needed. So we'll start with this. And let's see. Do I want to add anything off the bat? I could. Let's just do skyboxes for fun.
All right, go ahead and bring that in. Mm-hmm. And then it seems like someone has let an animal out, as I hear a cat in the background. I don't know if you do, but I'm just going to pause the video for 1 second after you add in what you want to add.
Okay.
And go, there we go. So let's go and let that pull in. And I'm going to hit pause. Once that's all in, almost there.
Now it's got to bring in the skybox stuff. I was just tired of looking at that boring blue background all the time. So we're starting off on a fresh new project. Let's make it look pretty, or at least a little bit prettier.
All right, there we are. So hang on 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Lee, we're back.
Okay, and we, as you can see, we got that project set up initially, and we've got our assets. Now I want to go ahead and start creating some folders and getting some initial settings all dialed in before we even start messing with any code. So I'm going to start off with probably one of the first folders that I do, which is our code folder. And then I'm going to bring in another folder that I will call scenes. And wow. Well, I guess I put the squiggly brace on the other side, so I need to balance it out.
There you go.
So we'll get our scenes, bring it out to the top level. That'll allow me to go ahead and save our scene. And seeing as how this is no longer really a demo, I'll actually give it a name. So this will be our train editor scene. So we've got that in there now. Now before I forget, I want to go ahead and start adjusting some of our settings. Mainly, I want to check running the background. Really helpful when you're doing long tests for memory leaks and stability. So when you start running and then you decide to flip over and look at some websites, that it will keep running in the background. So that's a good one to have, as well as some quality settings. So I always like to put my editor quality up to fantastic, because if I can run really fast with the best quality settings on this particular machine, I feel fairly confident that most machines can, get this thing to run. So I'm also going to dial down our shadow distance down to 64 for now. And I'm going to turn off sync to VBL off. So that's if when I do some tests in standalone, I'm not locking my frame rate down to 60. So just so I can get a better grasp of what this is doing performance-wise. If I were to build it out for real, I would probably either set this as a player option or leave it on, just so I've got the smoothest running game I could make happen. So that'll take care of those initial settings for that. Let's go ahead and jump into render settings. Let's set a nice sunny sky, I think, for our background. Isn't it pretty?
Oh, yeah.
So, and while I'm not going to use fog yet, I'm going to go ahead and set the fog color. So, because we're really not going to see it yet until I put some geometry in here. So, but I'll leave fog off, but I'll have the color set. So at least I've got that in place. Now, I'm going to go ahead and create an empty game object. Set this to 0. And this is our handy dandy game manager. So we've got that. And let's then hit Control S. And then we'll continue on creating some more of the folders. So need one for materials. One for textures. And we'll need one for prefabs. And I think just one more for now. And we'll make one for shaders, in case we get around to showing off that shader, that real simple one, or if I get to make it even fancier in the next few days. So at least that'll get us our initial ones in place. Now, from here, this one will be a little bit interesting to pull off, just because of our limitations on screen resolution. So what I'm going to do is try to move that slightly off to the side of the screen so I can click on it as I go back and forth. I'm going to go into our Train 07, which is the last project that we are working with on your computer.
Which means for those of you that were following along with us and made it as far in terrain as terrain videos have been released to the class, then you should be able to do exactly what we're doing here.
Right. So I'm going to pull our grass texture in. Let that import. And I'm going to need to create a new folder inside of here. This will be our resources folder. Now that I clicked here, I can grab this, go inside of resources. Now, inside of here, I'm going to grab our world data, drag this in, give that a sec to update as well. Now, I need to make some changes to this one, or we're going to run into some problems fairly quickly. One is make sure you set the max size to 2048. Otherwise, that's going to be an interesting bug for you to try to figure out what went wrong. Trust me on that one, I know. also want to set texture type to advanced. We're going to enable read and write. I'm going to leave bilinear on, but I'm going to turn off generate bitmaps. And then I'm going to hit apply. So that will take care of that one. And then I think I'm going to bring in, which one of these do I want? I'm not going to bring in the mini map. I'm going to bring in the height map, and I'll put that one just under textures. I'm going to rename it though. So this is going to be our train detail. Bump. And then we'll go ahead and set this to be a normal map. Generate from grayscale. And let's go ahead and set us down to 256. We're going to use smooth. And I think I'm going to dial this down to about 0.15. Go ahead and hit apply. So this will turn us into a normal map that we can use for our terrain texture. Now we've got those in place. Let's go ahead and back up to assets. Let's look and see what we've got inside of material. We've got 2 materials, but none that I want to use. So I'm going to create a new material here real fast. So this will be material, rename it to m_terrain. For now, I'll just set this to a simple bump diffuse. Drag the grass texture into the base and the terrain detail bump into the normal map. So this will give us something with a little bit of bump to it. I'm not going to worry about tiling on either of these yet. No point in really looking at it because we can't see the results until we get some geometry in here, of course. So that will take care of those. What else do we have in here that I might still want to use? Let's see, we've got meshes, our test plane. Nope, don't need that anymore. Our scripts. Yeah, we'll bring those in a little bit. That's going to be a special little section. And we're going to need, well, I can bring that in now because we'll need that at some point. So I'm going to bring in our sculpt tool shader. Go ahead and close that up. We're done with textures. What else do we have? We've got textures, shaders, scripts. Okay, so we've got most of everything we need. So let's look at code real quick. Go ahead and create a new folder. And I'm going to call this one scripts. And inside of here, I'm going to figure out where I put my Explorer. I'm going to drag in our game manager. So that'll give us our game manager script. The moment we do, you can see we're going to get some errors. Just because basically it can't find our namespaces anymore, which is fine for the moment. I'm going to right click. I'm going to hit Sync Mono Develop Project. This is going to build our Visual Studio project so we can get Visual Studio fired off. And then from there, we're going to start importing in the rest of our scripts and our CS files and get all that set up. But let me give this a sec to fire off. So someday I should really get an SSD for my main hard drive. Alright, so that built that project, so I should be able to double click it and open it. And there it is, opens up way over here. We go ahead and maximize that, close this for now. And as you can see, ReSharper is screaming at me at the moment. So there are all kinds of issues. So But that gives us our initial Unity project set up with our base settings, our Visual Studio project set up so we can start, and the initial material and textures that we're going to need to start working on the editor. Where we're going to go next in the next video is going to be bringing in all those scripts that we've written, all the ones that we're not going to completely rewrite, and we're going to modify them, change some of the namespaces, clean up some of the naming, and make some minor tweaks to those files and get us ready so we can start creating the train mesh using our new system and getting all that into place.
Awesome. So is that everything that you wanted to cover in this video?
For this one, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Well, we'll see you guys in the next video.